the entire time that I'm talking. If something comes up for you, don't hold it in. Stick your hand up in the air. I'm going to try and jump on it. Okay? So, but the first thing I want everybody to know, regardless of the situation, so whether you are interacting on social media or you're going on a date, is that there are 3 components to your message: verbal, vocal, and visual. And what they've discovered is people only actually really remember about 7% of what you say. 38% of your impact is your tonal quality, and 55% is what your body's doing while you're talking. So let's think about it. If we're talking about social media then, you're really down to making an impact with 7% of what you've got. Unless you're looking at photos and videos, and I'll talk about those and how to make those effective for you in a little bit. But I'm going to start right now with the written word and the words you say on your social media pages and how to get people to interact with you that way. So Yale University did a study of the 12 most persuasive words in the English language. The most persuasive words in the English language is you. So the more that you can as you're interacting with people on your social media, be like, I wanted you to know about this. I wanted you to hear about this. I was thinking about you today. All of these different kinds of things. Again, everyone gets up in the morning. They are the hero of their own story. And if you're scrolling along and it seems like somebody really cares about you and your life and what you need, you're going to stop and you're going to be like, oh, I like them. I can't really put my finger on one. Just because they're fun to have, I'll tell you the remaining the remaining 12 words. They're in my book, How to Wow. But I also wrote them here. So you is number 1. Money is number 2, not surprisingly. Number 3 is save, because we enjoy saving money. Who doesn't, really? Number 4 is new, and that's new as opposed to old. 5 is results. 6 is health. 7 is easy. Safety, love, discovery, proven, and guarantee. So again, you can use these in all of the interactions, whether you're talking to people on the phone, whether you're doing a radio interview, whether you're shooting a video for your website. You can put them in the subtitle to your book, should you write a book, just so you can manipulate others that way. Just because it's fun to know, there is another list. It's the 6 most influential words for a copywriter. But they're also, again, just fun to have in your back pocket. Number 1 is free. Because if we don't like to save money, we do just like things to be free. Again, new is on there. Amazing. Now. How to and easy. So again, apparently things being new and easy goes a long way with everybody in every situation. So again, if you take away only one thing, it's about putting everything in the context of you. Why is this going to make your life better? How is this going to change, somebody else's day? The next statistic I want you to have comes from a social psychologist named Ellen Langer, who's at Harvard right now. And she did a study that showed that there's one word that increases the possibility of cooperation and buy-in from 60 to 94%. Any guesses about what that might be? Please is good. It's actually because. I wanted to talk to you today because. I wanted to show you this product because. It's really spelling out for people the because behind why you're telling them something. Again, if you don't tell them why, then all they're really thinking of is why, how does this apply to me? How is it going to make my day better? So it's always, always, always giving people the because behind why you're doing something. One of the things that drives me crazy, and the comment that I make a lot, just, for example, on LinkedIn, people will write me and they'll say, I'm writing to you because, it's always been my dream to work in communications. And so I thought that you could help me. And I'm thinking, I'm so unclear on why I'm here to make your dreams come true. But if you wrote me and you said, I'm writing to you today because I know that you've had a robust career in communication and you've done this and you've done this, and this is how I can add value to what you're doing already, that's interesting to me. So you need to kind of give people the because behind anything that you're doing or any request that you're making. So these are the two formulas of asking people to do things for you, otherwise known as manipulating others, you and because. The third part comes from the Duncan Hines cake mix marketing team. Have any of you bumped into this? This is a true story. So when Duncan Hines first started making cake mix, the decision to have you at home add the egg was actually made in the marketing department. Because when we add the egg to the mix, we're like, oh, I baked, right? I contributed to the cake. And there's no reason for that, right? We have powdered egg. We have the technology. But you know those mixes where it says, like, just add water, and you feel sad about yourself? And you're being manipulated because you didn't add the egg to the situation. So again, the third part of the formula for getting people to do what you want them to do is what's the egg? Where does what you want, which is to sell your business or service, intersect with what the person who's watching your social media feed wants, which is whatever it might be, to make their life better. Why are you telling them about this? How is it going to, again, improve their day, improve their world? And again, if it's free or easy, even better. I sat in on a session this morning on using video to improve your business, and one of the videos that they had was for a bank, and one of the products that was offered was a free cross-business mortgage rate analysis thing. And I'm thinking, that's great. I would almost use this bank at this point because they've given me something free, which is exciting. And they've made my life easier, yay. And they've become now a trusted resource. So that's the egg. They've given away a little bit of something, their knowledge, their access to this information, and it's making my life better. In general, one of the things I really, really want everybody to think about, and it's just so important, is don't hoard your information. Don't hoard your skills. Don't hoard anything. People do. They tend to stop giving stuff away because they think, well, but I need people to pay for that. Or I want people to pay for that, or I don't want anyone to steal it. No. I really find that the more advice you're willing to give, the more tools you're willing to offer, the more how-to videos you're willing to post, the longer people will spend on your site, the more you're going to become a trusted resource for those people, and the more that they will end up buying more stuff, because they're just going to feel like they know you better. Again, it sounds kooky. I have clients across a spectrum of industries. And just, again, speaking of how-to videos, one of my clients has a hair care line. And she started this whole thing called Real Men Braid. And it was to teach dads how to braid their daughter's hair. So she does all these online classes and around the United States, and she goes in and she gets these men and she teaches them how to braid hair and use detangler, and it's just mind-blowing using the ponytail holder. But because of that, again, people are buying tons and tons of her product because she gave away that how-to video. I've got another client in the meat industry, and every Easter he does how to carve a ham videos, and they put them up on the website, and people love that. They'll go there, they'll learn how to carve a ham, and they're going to buy the ham usually by the time the thing is over. So it's just beginning to think about what's the egg, like where does what you want intersect with what your clients or your potential customers want and need, and how can you get those two things to come together? You plus because plus the egg. Formula for getting people to do what you want them to do for you. Any questions about any of those things so far? Yes, no, maybe so far making sense. The other thing to think about in terms of just making your website perhaps more robust, or giving stuff away, or making life easier for people. I really recommend having a frequently asked question area on your website. If you have questions that keep coming up and coming up and coming up and coming up, make an FAQ, put it up on your site. Again, it makes you seem like you care, even if you don't care. Makes you seem like you care. You only have to care for the amount of time that it takes you to write the FAQ. Then you can be done caring. All right? But we really, it does make life easier, and it's really, really helpful. So I want all of that to be there. The other thing that I did that has been incredibly helpful, and I can't even talk about the impact on my business and how much work I get out of it. I put an Ask a Question button on my website. Right? Every question rolls directly to my phone. I will answer every single person who writes me. I promise you I will. But I get questions all day long about everything from I have a job interview to I have a television interview to I have a meeting with my boss and I'm freaking out to I need to ask for a raise. I mean, to I have a felony conviction. How do I talk about that? But it really, I get questions where I'm like, I can't fix this. But it really, but then, you do. And honestly, those people, when you actually take the time to write them back, they go out and they tell 20 people, oh my God, I wrote her and she wrote me back. And every single time I get either business or sales of the book out of it. So seriously, and ask a question. I mean, you've got to have somebody manning that ask a question section. You can't just let that one fly, because then people get angry. So if you can't have somebody who does it all the time, just have an auto reply. I will respond to your question within X amount of time. We wait more patiently when we know how long we're going to wait. Hence all the things in the subways and the train stations saying the train is 5 minutes away. So you're not freaking out and leaning out over the tracks. Same idea. So, but all those things make a big, big difference in terms of people's ability to communicate with you, to believe that you're a real person, to trust you more, to buy whatever it is that you happen to be selling. The other thing, again, is I really, really think if you don't have, tons of pictures of yourself, of your team, those different kinds of things on your website, you have to have them. And they really do have to be professional. Okay, they can't be, taken at the Memorial Day barbecue. Nor can they look like they got taken in the Sears photo booth in your fourth grade picture, right? Again, sometimes you hear how much professional photographers want to take your picture, and it's shocking, and you think this can't be, what? But it's so incredibly worth it, because then you get beautiful pictures. You can use them for a really long time. They work in high resolution formats. So all of these things start to factor in. Ditto video, all of the things. Again, the video presentation, I only got to go to one thing this morning, but it was so much fun and interesting to hear about creating video content for your website. People love video. So much fun. Shorter the better. Again, I loved hearing that. 6 to 8 seconds, you can have an impact, all of these things. But you need to think about that when you start to shoot pictures and you start to shoot videos. I mean, one of the things that, again, and this will improve your family photos as well as any work photos, everybody looks better when you hold the camera up here. Everybody looks better from up there. And you turn a little sideways. Like, I don't want the full, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills situation. Okay, I don't love that. It makes me kind of crazy. But just a little bit of a slight turn. Begin to know your best angles. It sounds nuts, but you have to have it. I have a friend who's got, I don't even ever know how many hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers. She's tiny. I'm not even kidding you. She might be this big. But if you looked her up on Instagram, she looks 10 feet tall. Because she literally pays someone to travel with her and shoot her, I think lying on the ground. I'm not quite sure. But it's astonishing. My husband finally met her, and he was completely flipped. Because she's just only as big as a salt shaker. But it is beginning to, again, think about yourself all the time in that kind of a way where the things that you're putting up and you're posting and all these different things look as professional as possible. And so that, you're getting the reaction that you want. So any questions about any of those things so far? Yes, no, maybe. Just in terms of things to think about and colors to wear and things like that, blue is the color that we trust the most and it photographs best. Just nice to have in your back pocket. So whether it's your corporate video or traffic court, I'm just saying blue's kind of where you want to be. It looks well on everybody, and if you do end up on television or shooting video or anything like that, it photographs really well. Because it's just a nice, even tonal palette. But all of these things, again, you start to watch the newscasters. As you do now, you're going to start to notice. They like to wear the blue shirts with the navy blue blazers. They rarely wear white. It just reads as really blocky. It's just fun facts, fun and interesting facts. Have any of you shot videos for your website or taken headshots or done any of those things? Have you had reactions to them? Well, yes, you are the video company, so yeah. Any things that you see or that you would want people to know just from your expertise working every day? Never wear green. This is true. I shot a lot of videos on green screen when you really can't wear green. This dress today is not great for a video because it's stripes. I do always usually recommend staying away from stripes and checks. But I also thought it was kind of a fun and springtime dress. So there you go. I went with that. Other things or other experiences that you've had? Videos that you love? Yes. Yes. I learned, I saw, there's something called Lumiere. Is that it? Is that what it's called? Oh, here we go. It's happening in real time. I learned about that today. I'm so into it. Look her, she's 10 years younger. Oh, dueling lighting. I love it. If someone lies on the floor and takes your picture. No, but it's, yeah. Because that's what I always say to people, you don't want to look like you've been growing mushrooms in the basement. You don't. You don't want to look like you're in the witness protection program. You know? You got to get the lighting right. And again, it sounds crazy and everybody doesn't need to be a reality star, but it's these little things that start to make an enormous amount of difference. So thank you, ladies. That was wonderfully helpful. Any other experiences that people have had working with their different kinds of situations on their websites? Yes.
Sometimes people are not their own best spokespeople.
Right.
They really are. And so they need to have somebody who is vibrant and, not.
Right. Right. So, I mean, and I hear what you're saying, and I agree that probably everybody doesn't start out as their own best spokesperson. But I do also know, thank God, because it's how I make a living, most people you can get there. You can get there. Because there's not a lot to this other than, I mean, again, all you really honestly half the time with my clients, half of my work is just pushing the on-off button on the video, and I play it back, and they're like, God, I'm kind of boring. And I'm like, oh, interesting, that's what you're seeing. So, again, in addition to, most people know the camera adds 10 pounds, but it also really flattens your personality. So you really do, as you're shooting these videos, you have to be that much more animated. You have to be that much more excited about everything. I recommend literally doing, how many of you had to sit through acting class? Anybody ever? All right, well, just because you missed it. This is the only interactive thing we'll do. Well, no, not really. Okay, one of the exercises I make everybody do, you should see the enraged faces of my CEOs, is called the pumpkin raisin face exercise. Right? So first you make your face as big as a jack-o'-lantern, and then you make it as small as a raisin. And you do that 10 times. Just do it. Don't look at your friends. Just do it. All right? It's not a trust exercise. What it does is it wakes up all the muscles of you have 44 muscles in your face. And it wakes up all of them so that you are that much more interesting in all of your pictures. Again, I do work across the spectrum of industries, and I was working one day with one of our more well-known supermodels, and I signed 62,000 confidentiality agreements. But anyway, we were talking about that, and she goes, oh, I do that all the time before photo shoots. And I was like, I just wish I could get you to tell my clients that, because everybody feels very stupid about the pumpkin raisin face exercise, but it's really good. So yes, you want to do that all before anything. The other thing you want to do is if you're shooting video for your websites, 38% of your impact is your tonal quality. So you've got to be hopefully down in this lowest possible register, known in my business as speaking from your diaphragm. Because the difference is, if I'm not speaking from my diaphragm, I'm speaking from up here, right? I have no authority right now. So you really do need to make sure you're down in this lowest possible register, because that's what, again, that's what draws people in. That's what gets them to hear you. What's makes, no, but you don't want to be monotone. I agree with you, because sometimes people talk and they stay in the same range the whole time. They just stay right here, and it's unbelievably, and then after a while you're like, so no, you need to kind of vary that whole thing. You want to get away from, upspeak. My name is Frances. Okay, if I don't sound like I know what my name is, that's not reassuring to you, right? And then there's vocal fry, which is just so upsetting, which comes to us courtesy of the Kardashians. I'm so proud of my sister. I couldn't be more proud of my sister. I'm like, okay, so no, all bad. Yes, sir, you have a question.
Do you find that's a problem with the younger generation more, or do you see that across a lot of generations, kind of the uptalk or...
The vocal fry. I find I am often hired to eradicate it in the younger generation, which is, whatever, that's fine. Thank God I make a living doing it. It's just one of those things. There's actually, just speaking of which, how many of you listen to 1A? NPR, 1A. Oh my God. You're going to be so happy. A, because it's an extraordinarily great program. It's on NPR, 10 a.m., Joshua Johnson. But they did a podcast yesterday called How to Sell Things and Influence People. So right there, everybody should listen to it. It's 32 minutes, completely worth your time. Fantastic. But Joshua Johnson, who's the host of the show, has the best enunciation I have heard in anybody in so long. I can't even begin to talk about how much I love him. So just if you want to hear, again, what that tone is that I love and that makes me, the man could read the phone book and you'd be riveted. Actually, a few years ago, again, I don't know how many, this was all before YouTube, Oprah had a show where she had Anthony Hopkins read the phone book. And it was, I'm not even kidding you, he was reading the Yellow Pages and he goes, drywall. And I'm like, oh my God. And he read the whole page of the phone book. It was fantastic. So it's beginning to think about that tonal quality and what you want it to be and making sure that it matches your message. The gentleman who was up here before who works on the radio, he was saying that. We get nervous and we start to lose our personality and our voices become very uninflected. So it's just making sure that you have all of that in your tone. A really easy way to do this, if you do a radio interview, they call you at home. You can do the whole thing standing in front of a mirror. Standing in front of a mirror while you talk on the phone makes you so much more interesting, I can't even talk about it. Great for if you do cold calling, any kind of thing like that. If you have an interview, do it standing in front of a mirror, because you're going to look at yourself in the mirror and you're going to smile. And you're going to be like, I'm so funny and I'm so interesting. And it does come out in your voice. So super, super useful tool for making sure that your tonality matches your message. Again, if you're shooting video for your site, you've got to have it, because nobody wants to watch the video that kind of very slowly puts them to sleep. Yes?
What was that podcast called again?
How to Sell Things and Influence People. It was on yesterday. The show is called 1A. How to sell things and influence people. So I think it's meant to be a goof on how to win friends and influence people. But anyway, maybe think of it. There's one of the people who is talking has such excruciating vocal fry and upspeak that but she had really good information, so I was able to get past it. But it's just a really good, it's a good example of what? The gentleman who's the host of the show is Joshua Johnson. He's got beautiful enunciation. Obsessed. Just in terms of recent stuff I've read and seen, because I was getting ready for the conference, did any of you see the article in the New Yorker it was called Van Life? Hashtag Van Life. Again, Google it. I think it was in the April 14th issue of the New Yorker. But it's about this couple that has been living in a van for 5 years. And their first Instagram post, they had 91 followers. And now they have several thousand, and they're getting product endorsements for using, eco-friendly water bottles. But they really take you through the entire process of making that happen. And because it's, in the New Yorker, the writing is beautiful and it's really entertaining. It was just a really kind of a great way to learn about Instagram. I learned a lot. So there you go. Little fun factoids that I was thinking about getting ready to come talk to you today. Other things that you guys have noticed or that you're getting ready for, or problems that you've been having, or stuff that you noticed working well on your websites? Yes?
When I work with my clients, we talk about that much being talking head to, but also not being able to never have the video is where nobody's paying attention to the background, or like see it feeling.
Right.
And talking. So a lot of that, I think, we have to people aren't paying attention to what's going on behind.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, it's about literally thinking about yourself as a movie director. Shoot it, watch it, look at it again. You know, consider your background. No half-dead ficus plant. You know, no overflowing garbage. No, I mean, we all saw the guy who was doing the interview and then his child like ran into the room. Fabulous. But it's not always going to work out that well for you. So, so yes, it's just beginning to make sure all of those different kinds of things are in place. If you're shooting video, again, the same thing. If you're just shooting it on your computer, you can do it, but put your computer up on a pile of books and angle it down because you're going to look better if something's up a little bit high. Yes, sir.
What's your thoughts on the imagery to use on websites? I noticed that many service providers, they have the white guy, the black guy, the Spanish guy, they have one of the Asians. So, I mean, that's in Spanish.
I get it. It's a Benetton ad.
Yeah, how do you sell it? My question is, or, you know, the main image, you say, you know, where the account sits with the copy guy, what image should they use on that? Instead of copy.
I mean, in my dream world, it is your actual team. But what I would want is, rather than having like one headshot of this one and one headshot of this one, and why people keep having to do this with their hands, I don't know. It would be all of you together. Because at that point, frankly, you're so much more trustworthy. Because I believe that once I give you my money, you're all going to want to work together to make my dreams come true. So it's the same way, like if you go into a meeting with your team, you want all of you to sit on the same side of the table. You don't want one person over there, one person over there, one person over there, because the people that you're meeting with don't know where to look. You, just FYI, when you go to a meeting, please sit together. But I do recommend having a team picture with everybody who works for your company. It seems incredibly hokey, but it really does send a message that, you know, at least once, you all really liked each other and you all stayed in the same place at the same time. So I think that can be great and kind of fun. Yes? Yes, you. All you. Hang on, I need you. Okay. From your diaphragm. Aside from my own. For sale for $15. No, I like my book. It's actually, basically it just sounds like me talking, and it's not chapters because that's exhausting. It's like, here's 3 pages on how to leave a really great voicemail message. Here's, you know, PowerPoint presentations, meetings, job interviews. But you know whom I love? Malcolm Gladwell. Love him. Love him, think he's untouchable, everything he's written. But The Tipping Point was fantastic. Blink, fantastic. I really, really, really love him for everything. So yeah, I'll read whatever he writes. I don't care. I'm pretty easygoing. Other websites or tools or things that are going on in your company that you have questions about, or I don't know, whatever y'all want to talk about. Yes, Patty. Oh, email subject lines. I said I was going to talk about this. So there are a number of email subject lines that make me crazy. For instance, I got one recently from a realtor, and the headline was, "Exciting news!" And I thought, oh. And then I opened it. Well, I guess she moved to a new office. And maybe that's super exciting to her. But I'm unclear on why it's exciting for me. Right? So I really need you, again, where does what you care about intersect with what the people who are reading this care about? It lands in exciting news. for me. Or urgent, again, for me. If it's not urgent for me, and your subject line says urgent, again, then now I no longer trust you. Just in general, other subject lines I don't love. For when you get in on Monday, I'm so unclear on why you're planning my day. I know you're out sick, but I'm out sick. So it's just about, again, thinking about the person who's receiving it and why will it matter to them and why should they care about it. Yes. Action needed. Because why? Why do you need me in particular? In general, it really is always about making people, we were talking earlier in the panel about pitching reporters. I'm really good at this. One of the things that always works is if you, as you get in touch with them, say, I saw your article on blah, blah. And I thought you did such an insightful job. Because not everybody would have really understood that subject matter that way. And that's why I thought you'd be such a good person to talk about whatever is happening at your company. And so now the reporter's like, oh, it's true. I did see that story differently than anybody else did. I did this at one point, again, with one of my clients who said something. And if I told you what the quote was, you would know who it is, so there you go. And it's however many years later, and they're doing the cover of a magazine. And the discovery is made that the reporter who put out the quote that she's remembered for making is now coming to do her comeback story. And I get a call, like, will you come talk to her? She's locked in the apartment. She won't come out. Blah, blah. So, yeah, what's more fun than this? Pretty much nothing. So I go to her apartment, and I said, first you open with, like, so what have you been thinking about doing so far? And she said, well, I had my manager tell him if he wrote anything bad about me, I'd have his hands cut off. Validate. I'm like, okay, well, that's one option, and we can certainly talk about that. But, what I'm thinking instead is you want to go into your meeting with him and say, I was so excited when I found out it was you doing the story because no one's more qualified to talk about how much I've changed. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, it's true. And that was the egg, right? That's where he got invested in what he wanted to do. So this is a great way to work with reporters. You did this story. I love the way you covered it. I really thought you were able to get an angle on that person or that business that nobody else was able to see. And so this is why I'm approaching you, because you're so visionary, to do this for me. Just try it. Just let me know how it works out for you. I have an ask a question button on my site. So yeah, I think that's always really, really good. But you want to, again, it's not about you and what's making your dreams come true. It's how are you going to help them look good. They can come to you and do a really great story on your business. That does make them look good. So help them out. Other things, other ideas? Yes, in the back. I think sometimes it depends on the industry, because some websites, they seem to really need to like flash things at you and freak you out, real estate. And then there's music and it's popping into my computer, like, no. So I think it really is industry specific. Attorneys like to have things be very sedate on their website, and I get that, because you don't want it to seem like, the firestorm in the Bahamas. So I don't think there's a hard and fast answer, as long as nothing's just incredibly irritating, or in my opinion, if it suddenly doesn't start blaring music at you in a way that you can't cope with at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that comes down again to, a lot of people can design a website, and according to GoDaddy, you can design your website on your phone in 15 minutes. Yeah, that enrages me. No, pay professionals to do it because they do it well. I mean, sometimes you can find some 15-year-old like Mark Zuckerberg, and everybody's looking for that guy, and when you find him, send him my way. But some things are really worth spending money on, and like professional headshots, like a really, really good web team, like getting, a proper video team in to do it. It's always really, really good to do. What? Copywriters. Love a good copywriter. They can always come up with a funny hook. Yes. Different, because again, you have to run your business. You can't be, everybody's good at can get really good at some stuff, but some people are really just really, really good at it right now. So why not use them? Bless their hearts. Other things that have come up, or thoughts and feelings? I'm just looking, you have the exact perfect shade of blue on. Do you mind standing up, sir? I'm so sorry. Yes, that shirt. Come on up for me. This is the shade of blue, and I say wearing blue before. It's this kind of French blue, cornflower blue. I've been scanning. I've been like waiting for somebody to hit me with that's the exact perfect shade of blue for video. Just FYI. Yes, other. Sorry, somebody picked well for you. If you didn't pick it yourself, someone gets to thank you. Yes. Right. Well, the first rule about customer service is that you don't want to go, at least for me, straight to problem solving, because people want to tell their story, right? They want to tell you how upsetting it was when they dropped their phone into the washing machine, right? And so you can't go right to, well, we've got a new phone, because they really need to process what just happened. So in general with customer service, I'm so sorry that happened to you. That must have been really upsetting, and all your contacts were on the phone that went into the washing machine. That's terrible. Okay, wallow, 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 wallow. Then present options. Because I think in general, everyone, even though, these poor people are hearing 75,000 stories a day about broken phones, when it happens to you, it's really important that every detail be rehashed. So I think, I think that's always a good thing for customer service. I think that in general with customer service, I always recommend presenting 2 options, at least 2, because people like to say no to something. Makes them feel powerful. So it does. So what I usually do is say, well, I can't offer you this, but I can offer you this or this. And they're like, well, I don't want that. Great, so you do want this. So that's usually my wallow, 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 present 2 options. It's like dealing with toddlers. Do you want saltines or a graham cracker? Do you want apple juice or water? Do you want to sit in this chair? Do you want to sit in that chair? Same idea. Works all the time. Giving others the illusion of control. Yes? Like your boss? I think that it's a matter of going in with a few examples of, this is the homegrown version of this, and this is the professional version of this. Then the price differential, and then the metrics. Look how much more they got out of having it done for X amount of money. And yeah, so it's just, you always have to back it up with facts about why it needs to be done. But at the end of the day, what I generally always fall back on is cheap is expensive and expensive is cheap. Because you can pay somebody to do it cheaply 3 or 4 times and be really sad about it, or you can pay somebody to do it correctly once and pay a lot and get it done, and then it's done. Someone said today that they recognized me from the headshot that was used in the advertising, and I was like, well, thank you, because those pictures were taken at least 10 years ago. But you pay a lot of money, you get a really good makeup artist in there, and you can get away with it for 10 years. So it's just about you have to do the analysis. Yeah. So other things or questions or ideas or things that have come up? Yes. Mm-hmm. I think that some of it is about putting your personality into it. So it might be a matter of there's your stuff, and then like these are 3 great books I've read recently that actually helped me where I learned something. And this is a presentation that I gave recently, or this is a question that 15 of you came in and all of you asked me this. So you could do an FAQ page, frequently asked or frequent concerns from my client. Yeah. Then I think it's about going and finding a site that you like and taking it to your web designer and saying, I like this element and this is why. But it's walking in with those concrete examples, maybe stepping outside your industry and saying, I love this aspect of what they're doing, like this real estate has this piece that I love. And helping people get a little bit creative with you. But yeah, you can't really leave yourself in their hands too much. On some things, on functionality, on things like that. But for tone, the other thing is going to come down to the writing of it. You want it to sound like you. You on your best day, but also you. But yeah, I'm not good with visuals. I'm just not clever at it. So I hired somebody who's really good with visual. Because again, it's important to know what you're good at. I'm not good at shopping, I'm not good at driving, I'm not good at cooking. I've outsourced all of those things. I have someone who does my shopping for me. My husband drives me everywhere. Just know what you're good at and let other people do what they're good at. Super simple. Frees you up. Other things or questions and if there are website people here, I'm sure there's some people who have website businesses. If you'd like to talk to this gentleman, let's have some crosstalk. You can offer some services. Yes. Okay. Right. Right, and it makes you seem trustworthy because you're willing to take them in the back creepy storeroom. Just true. So again, it's about it's about doing the video, but it's often about telling a story within the video, and it doesn't need to be long, because that I think is a common misconception. Again, one of the things I heard this morning is about 6 to 8. You can do a lot in 6 to 8 seconds. But you can do a lot within 6 to 8 seconds. And you can also repurpose a video, which I think is something people don't think a lot about. If you should have somebody shoot 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you can pull sections out for whatever it is that you need. So beginning to work with, to storyboard an idea, to make it a little bit fun or a little bit lighthearted. But we do believe you more. Video testimonials are, I forget, X percentage-wise, more believable and trusted than even written testimonials. So if you can get some video testimonials for your website, light everybody properly, put them in blue, but if you can get that to happen, then people are going to believe it. So other things or ideas or questions or yes. I think that it's one of those questions where, depending on where you work, you run it past your attorney, your company's attorney. Just on spec. In general, I think it's always a good thing to do. But yes, different people will have different security concerns. You know, we're not going to be, at one point I went down to talk to the FBI, and I was talking about needing only the X amount of information on the slide, and they're like, but all of our information is important. And I get that, and I'm happy that it is, but really we only like 3 bullet points. Just FYI, just as a fun, an important thing to know when communicating, we really do. We can only remember 3 things, and at point 4 we stop listening. And that's why it's 3 pigs and 3 stooges and 3 musketeers, right? 3 pigs, 3 bears. And there are 3 wishes in every fairy story. The genie does not give you 4. Your brain can't retain it. So here are 3 things I want you to know about my company. Bam, 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 all right? And then no more after that. Nobody cares. They can come back to your website if they need more. So, yeah. Oh, no. All right, so just a few things. I do have an Ask a Question button on the site. I really do write everybody back. So if after you leave, if anything comes up, if you want to write and ask me about it, yay, love it. Couldn't love it more. I am selling the book. It's $15. I also, I have, speaking of media, I have something called the Wow of the Week. I'm branded with the Wow. And it's every week. It's a newsletter that I do. Just, you know, here's something that happened with one of my clients that I think everybody could learn from. And it comes out every week. And if you want to sign up for the Wow of the Week newsletter, just give me your business card, and I'll take care of that for you. So I think one's coming out at 5 o'clock. It's what we can all learn, regardless of our political persuasion, from Mr. Comey's testimony. Interesting, right? What could it be? Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of your day.